I can't see musical.
Welcome everyone to the social van. Feeling Kyle sick of the bullshit. So here they are, reppin' C+, ready to turn every podcast to dust. So sit down and shut the fuck up, cause when in doubt, fuck your couch. Welcome everybody to the social van. Yeah! Oh, I love that theme song. That theme song's so banging. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Or music. You know, then it just starts and it's just like, welcome everybody to the social van. You know, somebody suggested a long time ago that we change that song.
To what?
I don't know. Make a different song. Make it shorter or whatnot. But I think it's the perfect length.
I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, like my pee-pee. It's the perfect length.
It's good enough.
Whoa, hey, it's not more than good enough.
It doesn't have to be too big. It's not too small. It's fine.
Gets the job done.
Yeah, it's satisfactory.
What up, y'all? KMB the Sexy Ninja.
Your boy Biff.
And welcome to the Social Vent Podcast. Big Daddy's not here right now, but he's here in spirits,
He's omnipresent. He's always with us.
Yes, always with us. And real quick, let's get some business before Big Daddy. Crazy Hoodiez. You want yourself a dope hoodie? Well, that's who supports this show, and that is Phil's business right there. And Big Daddy is throwing it down with those hoodies. They got some great designs. You need to go check them out. Much love to Big Daddy for letting Crazy Hoodiez be a sponsor because, you know, Shudder dipped the fuck out. But it's okay. It's okay. All right?
Buy a book, too. Or buy 2 books.
Yeah, buy his book. You can't go wrong with Big Daddy's books. You know, he puts his heart and soul into them. And speaking of heart and soul, I was just texting the group. I'm not finished with it yet because I just got to the fight. Rocky 4, the Rocky versus Drago, Stallone's director's cut. I don't know why he did a director's cut, but he said he did it during COVID. So I guess he was bored. He's just like, hey, yeah, you know what I should do? You know, I should recut Rocky 4, you know. So I'm glad he did, though. I'm really glad he did. It's Rocky 4, but still Rocky 4. Like, I think that's what I really like.
How would you compare it to, like, they did that re-edit of The Godfather Part 3, which was supposed to be, like worlds different.
I have not seen it. I have not seen that yet, but it is in the mail. It's
okay.
Coming. It should be here either today or tomorrow because I did pick up the Godfather complete trilogy set because I've been on
the re-edit.
It didn't come with it. Yeah, I got the box set, the Frank Capullo box set, whatever, with all 3 movies and whatnot. I was like, okay, cool. Should include the cut, right? No, it doesn't. So it's just only separate entity. I had to get on Amazon, so I got that coming. I've been on the big movie kick lately just because I got a new camera. Yeah, I've drawn inspiration from the gods to finally get off my ass, start shooting stuff, and start making films. And I just been crazy. Like, first movie in the bag, I watched American Graffiti. I see that movie in a whole different light because I'm doing the George Lucas biography, My Life, and we went through that film. Now we're on Star Wars itself, and like hearing how he was so adamant about sound. And have you seen American Graffiti?
I saw it in high school in a film study class, but I was, it was a bad time to watch movies because it was right after lunch and everyone was comatose. And it was one of those movies you got out of like the silent film era and started getting into more modern films.
Yeah, and he's responsible for the soundtrack being like the heart and soul of the movie. Like, you know, because after that, you know, Quentin Tarantino and everyone started doing that with their films. And George is once again at the helm above it before everybody else. And he's also a miserable son of a bitch.
Yeah, I kind of see it.
Yeah. So I got that. I got The Godfather. I rewatched Jaws. I got what else did I get? I got Tusk. Like, I'm doing my Kevin Smith dive. I just bought the documentary Clerk.
Okay.
That I got queued up. And I had to watch Rocky IV. And what's funny though is like, in the starting of the movie, it kind of freaked me out because at the end of the fight, they kind of do the Russian subtitles, what everyone's saying while the fight's going on.
Uh-huh.
But I believe to streaming error, they happen in the starting of the movie and they just pop up. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck? What? And I try to turn off the subtitles and I'm like, no, this isn't subtitles or captured or nothing. This is. Then I looked at the dialogue. I was like, no, that's part of the movie. That's supposed to be at the end. And then I looked at the little corner when I paused the movie. It says Rocky, ROCKEY. So whoever was in charge of putting it on stream or anything like that fucked up, because I guess that's the biggest complaint. I guess before I see the fight itself, those captions are not in there at all. So they're just speaking Russian amongst each other, because Drago kills.
It's more immersive that way, right?
Yeah, I know the movie. I know because Rocky is one of my favorite movies, especially the first one, and I would say favorite franchises of all time. And what's great about 4 is so 80s. It's pure, like I forgot how many songs are in Rocky 4, but it's like full like there's like 4 or 5 music videos. Journey,
it's a series of music videos with like scenes of other narrative to like abut each other for me.
Yeah, and it plays out really fast. Like you get from boom, 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 boom. But this one, he went back and actually added scenes that added more to the story. Like he added things that made more sense and like, oh, okay, you like now, because when Apollo dies, spoilers, this movie's from the 80s. So when Apollo dies in the ring, it's much more dramatic. And then when they do the funeral, he added a few things in there, especially like a scene where he's saying some lines about Apollo. Crushed me, bro. Like I was sitting here laying in this bed over here just
don't look at me, I'm not good.
Oh my God, I'm like Rocky,
I saw something like this last week, I think, where he had said he wished he didn't kill off Apollo, probably because he wants to bring him back in another movie.
Well, that was one of the premises for Creed. He talked about with Rocky 4 is it's very like he's like, the movie itself, it's like boom, 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 it's 80s, that I was so obsessed with rapid fire, get the audience from point A to point B, that's what you do, especially back in the 80s. And that's what he did. And with this one, it's still that. It's still an hour and 33 minutes, and then passes by pretty quick. But what he added gave it a little bit more dramatic effect. He changed the starting of the movie. Because in the starting of the movie, like it's so 80s cheese, but in the original starting, in the theatrical cut, it's you hear dun 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 dun, dun, then it's a glove with the American flag on it, then a glove with the Russian flag on it, and they come out simultaneously slow. Then they cock each other like that, and then they go boom, boom. As soon as they hit, they explode. And it's Rocky 4. Then it shows them fighting Clubber Lang and stuff like that. No, he took that out. And there's some other things he took out, and like I don't know. I'm really in love with the film. I can't wait to finish the fight for itself, just because like I said, it's a whole new experience with the movie I've seen a billion fucking times.
Well, how do you complain with that? Because I mean, there are definitely some films where I'm like, I want to see. Yeah, because I guess the way this sounds like is it's about the same runtime, but he just like edited a lot of the content inside it, so it's still it didn't change necessarily like the rhythm of the film, but like it's just like different stuff inside it now.
He put more depth into the characters. Like
what did he take out that he put stuff into? Like what was like?
Paulie jokes a lot in the movie. Like there's some things where Paulie's like he's a rapid fire joke person. Like he rapidly fire jokes. He toned him down. There was a robot in the original theatrical cut that they completely cut out.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Paulie's birthday. They're sitting there in the theatrical cut, and like all of a sudden the robot comes out like "Happy birthday, Paulie." And Stallone talks about that, and he says, "Yeah," he goes, "We were at this restaurant or whatnot." He goes, "He saw this robot." He goes, "That should be in the movie." He goes, "All of a sudden, I show up the set. There's the robot, and that was in the film." And he took that out, and there's some other things he added scene-wise that add more depth to characters, especially like Adrian, Paulie, Apollo. He recut the fight scene in the starting, and especially recutting the fight scene with Apollo versus Drago, and fleshed it out to where I was like, man, throw in the towel, throw in the towel. Don't let Apollo die, And I was like, oh wait, I know he dies, but goddamn. And like you said, it's just really, really cool seeing a film for the first time, even though I know the film.
Yeah, that's a really unique experience for cinema, because not so often that something like that happens, where it's like usually there's a director's cut where it's like a longer feature, but to get like about the same, like a shorter runtime, like 90 minutes is not that's like a typical movie.
Yeah,
it's not like this is a 2.5 hour cut with like everything put back in. Like with Twin Peaks, they did that where the film came out after season 2 ended. And then, so that was like season 2 was like it ended on this huge cliffhanger, and people fucking hated the movie when it came out because it was basically a prequel. But there was it's like a 2-hour long movie, and it's like way darker because it's like, this is like a show that's on ABC. It's like TV 14 normally. Like, it gets kind of risque in a few points. There's some violence, but it's not too crazy. This is like a hard R feature. So this is like a huge total difference. You're like, holy shit, like boobs, drugs, gore, like all the cool shit.
Well, that's when you let the director off the chain. It's kind of like
yeah. Well, he took the movie back. Well, he took the series back because the ABC made him force his hand of revealing the killer, and then he walked away after that. He's like, I'm fucking done with this show in the middle of the season. So then people had to try to pick up the pace. So they had different writers, different directors, and it was garbage. He's like, I wrote this show off, and then he came back for the last 2 episodes and was like, all right, fuck all you kids. We'll show you how daddy's going to do it. And then he made the movie, and people hated the movie. He's like, well, I guess it was like, he's like, your kids aren't ready for it, or you're not ready for it, but your kids are going to love it.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like George,
well, I was going to say, to add on to what you were saying, it's a 2-hour film, but he shot 5 hours of footage, and then they finally found all the footage. They called it the missing pieces, and it was its own feature. It was 90 minutes of deleted material, and then so there were fan edits where people made a 3.5 hour, 4 hour feature on just like almost everything put back in. So that's normally what you see, versus keeping the same framework of the shorter runtime, but changing the content to change the narrative and getting rid of the fluff. Because I bet that's it's a more effective movie, I bet, because of he got rid of some of the fluff, I would say, right? It's more,
he did.
Every scene is more meaningful.
Yeah, especially with him and Adrian. There's some things I'm like, oh wow, I'm glad he cut that. Oh, he added this in. He re-edited scenes too, especially when they get to Russia and they get off the plane, and then they're Paulie's already making jokes as soon as he comes out, and he puts on, in the original theatrical cut, he puts on earmuffs, and he's making jokes and this and that, and it's just kind of just played off that. In this cut, it's him going out the plane, hey, Rocky, Russia don't look so tough, and he puts on the earmuffs, and then Rocky goes, hey, yo, why you bring Adrian's earmuffs? And he's like, because I look better in them, and he walks up, and I was just like, oh, I like that. It's much better. And I had to go back and flip through scenes in the original theatrical cut, and I kept on going back and forth, and I'm like, oh man, the dynamic that he's putting in depth into these other characters, because it's, the theatrical cut is meant for an audience that wants to sit there, be entertained.
It's general audiences.
Yeah.
So this is like a catered, the more cinematic experience.
Yeah.
The film cinema lovers. Would you adjust the ranking on where Rocky IV sits in your preference list? Did it move? Did it stay in the same point, or is it, did it go up or down?
I would say it's going up. Okay. My least favorite Rocky film is 5. Because 5 is just I probably have to revisit 5. 5 is the least washed out of all the Rocky movies. Rocky, of course, is always number one. First Rocky. And I would say Rocky 3, then Rocky 2, and Rocky 4 was like below, but it moved up over Rocky Balboa because Rocky Balboa was that 6? Yeah, Rocky Balboa was the 6th movie. Yeah, Rocky Balboa got up there like in rank, but this one is like, oh, okay, and it feel like when you're building to the fight itself with him and Drago, like you feel it. You like, and man, I forgot how cut this dude gets like for these movies. Like in Rocky 3, he got down to like 6%, 3% body fat, which is really bad. And he was in the hospital a lot if we're filming Rocky 3. So, but he definitely, like, that's him training. There ain't no stunt double.
Mm-hmm. It was back in those days.
Yeah, but I was trying to think too of what other level I would put this on. Like it was like a different experience. Like I did check out that Mario Brothers director's cut.
Oh, that we get it that came out recently.
Yeah. Like that movie's already bad itself, but adding in the scenes where you can still see the numbers on the bottom of the screen because you know it's just this extra footage that they had. Yeah. And I was just like it takes you in. You're like, okay, oh, that's a deleted scene just dropped in the middle of this to extend the scene longer than it has to be, and it's not well kept. Like they did not clean up those deleted scenes at all, digitally or anything. They're just like you could tell in the colorization of the original film, and then bam, here's this deleted scene, and then you're back into the film again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think maybe you have to watch it less as like a film and more of like an experience, like you take yourself out of, you have to suspend the disbelief even further. You're viewing it objectively. You're not trying to like immerse yourself in it. I guess that's how I would watch it.
Yeah. Well, it's like kind of like the Fast and Furious movies, like the director's cut. Because that's how they all are released now. And me and my brother laugh at that shit so much because it's like 2 minutes or less they add to the film, and that's it. And I'm like,
and they're always like, are they the same rating or are they now unrated? Right? Because they can say
unrated.
One more time.
Yeah. Like I remember like when I got number 5, it was like the extended cut. I'm like, ooh, extended. I like extended cuts, And I watched it. I was like, oh, I was like, what changed? And they're like, oh, this scene. I'm like, oh. I completely forgot about that, But coming to director's cut, it's like a Spider-Man 2. There's a director's cut to that, right? I
know now.
Yeah. There's I've seen it a bunch of times, and Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite films up there on my list, and it's not as good as the theatrical cut. Like it adds a little bit more in depth to certain scenes, but it's not as good, and I like it for what it is, what it adds to the story, but if you just take them out, you won't miss it at all.
So, okay, yeah. I mean, that sounds like pretty normal for like, when you buy a movie on DVD back in the day and be like, it's got the deleted scenes in it. You're like, well, they're taken out for a reason. Like, maybe it wasn't a bad scene, but it affected the flow is usually what it was. Like, it didn't help the story necessarily, just took longer to get from point A to point B.
Well, it's like one of my favorite director's cut is the Richard Donner cut for Superman 2. Mm-hmm. Like after I saw that, I was like, "Fuck Superman 2!" Like this is the Superman 2 I wanted to see. Because
like there's 5 different cuts of Blade Runner.
Oh, geez, the final cut, the extended cut, the extra cut. Like I was never big on Blade Runner. I've never seen the new one either. Never got around to the new one.
Well, if you didn't like the first one, you're not gonna like the second one.
No, I do like the first one. That's the problem. It's like. But I was like, it seems a long time it's like Dune finally getting his day. And like, I still haven't seen Dune, but I hear good things about Dune.
Yeah. It was a very, like, I'm a Lynch apologist. So like, I liked David Lynch's Dune. I didn't think it was the best movie, but I'm also didn't come in fully knowing the Dune story. I was like, I know enough of it to understand what's going on. Cause it can get confusing. And it's like, he's really trying to put 400 pages. Well, I guess that was definitely a movie you could tell there were too many of like the wrong hands in the wrong pockets. Like a lot of people being like, "No, you need to do this. You need to do this," and it's like it's too big of a story to tell in one 2-hour long movie.
Well, I heard that's
Lots
what
of stuff taken out.
That's what I heard too about this Dune. Like, there's a lot. It's a lot stuffed into a shell,
Yeah,
And
it ends at a good point, but it's like the ending is definitely like it doesn't end on. Man, just isn't like a good place to like cut it like right in the middle. So it's sort of like the movie like builds and builds and builds, and then it's kind of like levels out a little bit, and then it's like, okay, we'll see you next time. I'm like, all right. There's a lot of things that I think the Lynch Dune does really well that you wouldn't get in a 2021 Dune. Mostly like the set design and just like his vision is so unique. Like you have to be a visionary director in order to do something like Dune.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get some dickwad off the street like, oh, I guess I'd do it this way. You're like, no, son, here's how it's gonna be. Like some of his stuff is so cool, like the way it looks. And it was like, well, obviously it's gonna be 2021. Everything is very clean. Even though they're in the desert, everyone's clean all the time.
Well, it's like doing this George Lucas book. I have much more George Lucas always will be one of my favorite directors, but digging deeper into his psyche and how like sound is everything to him. Mm-hmm. And when we're talking about American Graffiti and the way he played that movie, told everyone the movie, it's a musical. He told it, everyone's like, the fuck, a musical? Like, it's a musical. And the way he incorporates the soundtrack itself to the scenes, and like the characters are there, but you're there for the experience of that sound and how it sounds like a radio that you're tuning in on that's playing, and the Wolfman is talking on the radio and he's kind of guiding you through, kind of like having the Warriors, but it's more guiding you with the story. And the Wolfman, who's the radio host, he kind of like brings the story together at the end, and it's really fucking cool. And
some sort of what do they call it? Diegetic audio, diegetic sound.
And so then I can't wait to rewatch, because I'm almost done with Star Wars, like that part in the book of Star Wars, and how awful and miserable and terrible everything was. And George got sick on the set, and all this stuff. But the way he was shooting it, and how everyone that was just like, oh man, this movie's gonna be shit. Like, and he was one of the biggest doubters of them all. Like he even says, no matter what, he still has problems with that movie. And that was why when the special editions happened, that's why the special editions happened, so he can add these things he couldn't add then. Like the Jabba the Hutt scene with Han that he edited in. That's so terrible when Han goes around him and steps on his tail, and he's like,
yeah,
and how George is never happy with his final product ever. Like he's like, yeah.
I think that's always been a big criticism, is like he's definitely like an idea guy and like certainly a visual guy, but he needs other people to sort of like structure his films.
Yeah,
that's what saved Star Wars was his wife's editing, to like get it compact, to have like the narrative that it has.
Kind of. She was on and off, but she wasn't a fan of the film. Like,
well,
he brought
that's personal taste, I guess. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, she didn't like the film, and like he brought on different editors. And he definitely okay.
Was that you or me?
That was both of us.
Oh,
we went down for a second. But yeah, like he does. This is why he doesn't like Hollywood, because American Graffiti was taken away from him. THX was taken away from him, re-edited. They brought on different writers and everything, and this is why he was like, "Fuck this." With Star Wars, she's like, "We're doing our own special effects. I'm gonna pour my money into that. I'm gonna, that this is the birth of everything, and how it pays off, which is the crazy part. It being the big success it is." Because everybody and their grandmother knows what Star Wars is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he certainly made a good penny on that, despite his insistence that he's never happy with anything he does.
Never happy. You'll never be happy. But I want to jump into this other topic with you that you brought up before the show. Holiday movies, Christmas movies.
Specifically feel good comfort ones.
If you fucking say Die Hard, I will kill you.
No, it's not on my list.
Okay.
That thing is it was funny in like 2010 when people started like bringing that up, but it's been quite a while since that's been played out. So I
still see it pop up every once in a while, and I just want to slap people because I'm like,
it's always the people who think they're the funniest people when they bring it up, but they're never the funniest people.
Yeah,
you know,
or it's like calling Iron Man 3 a Christmas movie. You know?
Oh yeah, or it's one of, or like Dumb and Dumber, where it's like it. Oh, okay, so I'll give you some additional part of this, but I always feel like if Christmas isn't like a central point to the plot, or if it's like just happens to be in winter, then it's like holiday adjacent, but not really like a holiday film.
Yeah, like Lethal Weapon. Like if you want to get critical, we could be like Lethal Weapon's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's like you could move it to any point in the year and it would still be the same movie. Like it's not like that thing isn't critical to the movie itself, you know?
Yeah, it's not like, you know, Iron Man's like, I have to buy the perfect present for Rhodes, you know, or Rhodey.
I always feel like Christmas movies always break down into like three categories. Like, is it related about the family, or is it about a toy, or is it about the mythos of Santa Claus?
Yeah,
they'll always break down into one of those three, but it still has to be about Christmas or the holidays in general.
So you want to do 5, right?
With some wiggle room. If you can't get to 5, that's fine.
Well, you know, I'll let you go first. Top me off.
Okay.
That sounds really bad.
Well, we'll fix it in post. We'll not worry about it.
What post? We don't do post here.
Yeah, it's true. So I would say my number 1 would be. You could do it as a standalone or a double feature, but the first 2 Home Alone films are the ultimate top of the list. Like, I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna order a cheese pizza and sit in some pajamas and just zone out on the TV for like 3 hours. I've really been getting into reading about has quite an of all the modern perennial holiday films. This maybe has the most interesting backstory and like production story in general, because are you familiar with the French horror film?
I knew you were gonna bring this up.
Yeah, Santa Claus.
Yeah, dude. Like we watched that, and then when Joe Bob was doing the backstory about how that film, and the director's like, "Oh, they stole my movie," and this and that. Then when we watched that movie, I was like, "Huh." There's a lot of elements here. Like it's still a strange fucking uncanny. Yeah.
Considering how close together those films came out.
Yeah.
And there's more to it with like, I don't know if Joe Bob talked about it because I saw it at the Draft House and they're going on about like some of the producers who were a part of Home Alone were at the premiere where Dial Code Santa Claus came out. And so they're like, hey, let's get this film made. Like, let's make the American version of it.
Well, it's like that's just America in general. Like, you know, it's like that Train to Busan movie being fucking awesome. Now they officially titled Last Train to New York. Yeah. So
no thanks. I will not see it. I got no interest in it.
I have no interest either. But yeah, Home Alone. I am one of those people who like Home Alone 3 as well.
Okay.
I do.
Last week or the week before, I watched the Home Sweet Home Alone.
How was that?
It was so fucking bad. It's literally as bad as you could possibly think it would be. The thing that sucks about it is like everyone who's involved on the production or the talent side has done good things, but for whatever reason, it just never congealed in this one. And so it's like the director did a dud and didn't have a good script to work on, or like the script writer's doing something terrible. Maybe they just like cobbled together a bunch of different ideas from different scripts in the past. It was just a headache. Like nobody is likable. There's no character that's like an audience surrogate that you care about who takes you into the film.
It's UK, right? It's like a UK family or whatever.
Yeah, it's that kid from Jojo Rabbit, and then they gave him like a British mom just so it wouldn't be weird. But it has no bearing on the story.
Okay, yeah. I heard too, like McAllister security system. Now we know what happened to Kevin. I heard that Buzz is in the movie.
He's a cop, and he's like There's like a what happened? Like, yeah, there's a home alarm system called the McAllister home alarm system at like at people's homes, and then so there's like a call that comes in that sounds like, oh, I think someone's trying to break in. Can you check in on my child or whatever? And he goes to check it out, and he meets the people who are breaking in. So it's the Kimmy Schmidt and some like goofy white guy. And then they play it off, and he buys like their story. He's like, okay, well, they're white, so they obviously didn't do it. But then he gets another call, and he's like, no, I'm not going to go check this out because my brother pranked me like 20 years ago doing this twice. So like you can dismiss this call even though it was like legitimate.
Well, it's what's funny about that is like it wasn't his fault. They left him, you know. And him going to New York, you know.
Yeah.
But no,
this one, it was you could get like there's sort of like a political undertone with it, with like class warfare, where it's like the family is struggling to like pay their mortgage, and you're like, there's a lot of allusions to like, yeah, like middle class is shrinking, like it's hard as fuck finding like a job, and then it's like the main kid, who's supposed to be like the hero of the film usually, is an asshole. He's completely unlikable, and he lives in this huge, like, he lives in like the rich suburbs of like Chicago, like the McAllisters did. But now it's like with inflation, it's like that house guaranteed costs like $3-4 million. So like immediately don't identify with this kid, aside from it being a prick. So you identify with like the thieves more, but they're still unlikable. But they're supposed to be like the heroes.
Kevin was a prick. Like,
but he was charming. This other kid is charming.
Well, in the starting, he always kind of pissed me off. He gets more charming as the movie goes because he kind of learned his lesson and whatnot. But when he's just a complete fucking dick, like to everybody, it's just like, and like I understand
in a way that like 10-year-olds are a dick. He just sort of had like an elevated like understanding of the world.
Yeah,
you know,
but
he was still like, he acted like a petulant child. We're like, this other kid is a straight up just a fucking dickhead.
Well, now I'm intrigued. Like, I'm on this film kick. I might give it a shot. But
yeah, give it a whirl. Just out of curiosity's sake, I feel like you could watch it and you could get like a laugh out of it. Just like, wow, this doesn't feel like a Home Alone movie, like in anything other than name.
Yeah, like well, I got that Beatles doc first, so before I jump into that Home Alone movie, I have to watch the Beatles. Peter Jackson.
Oh yeah, what was
first.
what were you saying about Home Alone 3? You're in, because I feel like that is the one where people, that's like the crux, where it's sort of like, yeah, it's tolerable, and then like the next like 19 of them were just like unwatchable.
Yeah, when Home Alone 3 came out, different kid. I thought it was better with a different dynamic, adding like not the spy aspect, but like the idea of the crooks like put the chip or whatever that's going to blow up the world. I don't remember, into this car toy, and the toy accidentally goes to this kid, and then
I saw it once, so it's coming back now.
Yeah, then they try to go to him, but he's like a little bit like, I'm fucking MacGyver. I can take you all on. I don't know. Maybe if I watch it now, I'll probably be like, this sucks. Like, but I was always a fan of 3. Never watched anything else, especially what was on TV.
Yeah.
Because I think there's 6 movies altogether.
In it, doesn't it?
Does it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh shit! Like damn.
Yeah, you got to rewatch that one.
You know what? I'll see you guys. Everybody enjoy.
Oh look, my loop came in.
Right. I got one. I'm gonna start off with it because I've talked about it a billion times. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Okay.
I love this film. This film is near and dear to my heart, and it makes me feel good and it makes me cry. You understand John Candy's character, especially more and more as you get older. Like watching the film as a kid, it's definitely the slapstick, you're laughing at. But then as you get older and you understand story, you understand emotions, you understand that sort of the aspect of the film, the slapstick is there still to entertain you. But when you break down the core of the story, especially with John Candy's character, you're just like, damn, You know, and that movie is always on my pedestal, just because it is one of my favorites to go to. Like, I know it's a Thanksgiving, you know, premise of the movie of, you know, Steve Martin's character trying to get home for Thanksgiving, but it's definitely a holiday movie upon itself.
It's one of those movies that's like the right people at the right time, because it wasn't like Christopher Columbus. He directed it, right?
Yeah.
Who also did Home Alone 1 and 2, so he's got that through line of all the holiday movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like such a good cast, a good cast and a good script. I do remember that scene where, because I haven't seen it, for all of you listening, I haven't seen it front to back, and I don't think ever, but I feel like I've seen 75% of the movie.
Oh yeah, it's
you know?
it's quotable. It's also there's parodies of it out there, especially like in Family Guy. You know, it's definitely a memorable movie that's reached out into pulp culture itself. You know,
I like that. I'll always remember that scene where like they're sharing the bed together, and he's like, "Where's your hand?" He's like, "Between two pillows." Our pillows. Or he cusses out the secretary from Ferris Bueller when she plays the fucking like the Hertz rental car lady.
Oh yeah,
What a fucking car!
Fuck, it just goes. And Steve Martin's just great. His delivery. Like, I went back and rewatched. We watched that Martin Short and Steve Martin comedy special, and on Netflix, and it was fantastic. And we're watching that show that they do with Selena Gomez. And it's they have you heard of this other show with Martin Short and Steve Martin and Selena Gomez? So Martin Short's character is like, he's like rich and he's an actor, and you know, he acted in this one thing there, and Steve Martin's character is like that, he's an actor as well, and they love murder mystery podcasts, and then Selena Gomez
sounds like a plot written by an algorithm.
Yeah, and then like the Selena Gomez, they all listen to the same podcast.
Sure.
And they're big fans of this podcast that, you know, all murder mysteries, like they're all loners and whatnot, but they all get together because a murder happens at where they're staying, and then they try to create their own podcasts to figure out the murder itself. And then you find out Selena Gomez's character is connected to the person that got killed, and so on and so forth. It escalates, but it's a great story. And Martin Short and Steve Martin, all three of them, play off each other so well. And you should check it out. It's on Hulu.
I don't got Hulu.
Get Hulu. Wait, no.
The only thing I want on Hulu is King of the Hill. I can take it or leave the rest, but that's the one thing I want.
Well, we got the bundle with the Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
they're already getting enough of my money. Fuck them.
They have all my monies in the bank. All right. So we got Home Alone 1 and 2. What's next?
This would be another film. I rewatched it last year and I got almost all the way through it. I need to sit down and stop being a very easily distracted film watcher. TV movie from the 80s called The Night They Saved Christmas. Have you heard of this one?
Man, that goes back. Man. Jeez.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in God knows how long.
So it must have been like 1997 or something. I probably saw it last.
Yeah.
That was the one where there's like an American family lives in Greenland, and the dad works for an extraction industry, like an oil driller or whatever. But it turns out that all their drilling is rattling the palace realm of Santa Claus. And so Santa Claus sends his man out to go try and convince this oil drilling company to stop drilling, and wows the wife and the kids with an exceptional time at Santa's castle, or Santa, what the fuck is it? What's his realm? Santa's
North Pole.
Santa's house? What's his domain? A home, castle?
It's a home.
The North
Pole. A home.
It's called the North Pole.
I know it's the North Pole, but I was like, what is he getting a castle? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, that'd be kind of tight. I mean, there might be some kind of like fiefdom going on with like, what's the economy with like Santa's land? You know what I mean?
since you went so off the track with this movie, I definitely.
I don't want to give all like the main ones.
I know. Well, I'm gonna go a little dark with my next one. So
Okay. Go for it.
okay, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Okay.
I love this movie. I do watch it around Christmas time. I do watch it around the holidays time. Like I don't save it for Thanksgiving. Not I mean for like Halloween or anything. Mm-hmm. It's a Christmas movie to me. A fucked up premise of a Christmas movie, but a Christmas movie nonetheless. I love this film. Like I love the idea of like. I don't love the idea. That sounds like a little, a little psychotic, but the idea.
I my life off of this movie.
I'm one with this movie, guys. You know, call your therapist and tell him to call KMB. We can figure his brain out. But this kid seeing what Santa does to his family, and then growing up in the foster, you know, because that happens. It's very brutal, and then it goes into this weird like. 80s. Then there's a little montage thing where he's like, I'm a big grown handsome man, you know, and he's the good do-gooder and whatnot, foster child, you know, he's an orphan because what happened, and then they want him to be Santa Claus one day, and then he snaps and he just goes on this rampage. I never liked the sequels, but they're fun. But that movie was just one of those movies that I just really, really like, especially the scene with the grandfather in the starting, and how the grandfather just so creepy and scary when he's talking to him, and it's just like then he goes in, he like gets all crazy, tells him the story, then he kind of just goes back to being.
What's the sequel? Was it that one or Christmas Evil 2 that had the garbage day quote?
I think it was Christmas Evil 2.
I think Christmas Evil 2. That's
yeah, instantly
quotable. That was one of those ones where it's like I'd seen that clip before, like garbage day. I'm like, I don't know what this movie is, and then like it just naturally happened upon it. I'm like, oh my god, I remember that part. I've seen it on the internet.
all sentimentals. But yeah, there we go. So I got.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was thinking about that one, but I haven't seen it enough times for it to be like a you know, I got to watch it every year. But I do like that one a lot.
I used to do this thing where I used to watch movies constantly, like when I was.
You still do that?
Well, I still do that, but I'm a rewatcher. Okay. Like I don't mind rewatching things. I know it drives my wife crazy because she's always like, "Let's try something new," you know. And I'm like, "Dark Knight. You've seen Dark Knight a billion times." I was like, "I know, but you know." And
I know how this one's gonna end. Like it feels good.
Yeah, it's still. What was my saying? Like me and my friend were talking about. Oh, it still touches the pee-pee. Like
there you go, yeah.
It still touches the
pee-pee in the mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's still stimulating in that sense, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so you got 3 movies down. You have 2 more.
Well, I would argue 1 and 2 can be consolidated as one.
Okay, fair enough.
The other one, let's see. I'm not sure I even love this list. Oh, there was one I was just thinking of. Let me counter that one with. Have you seen the short film Treevenge?
No. Oh, the title intrigues me.
Dude, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna send you a link on Facebook. We obviously don't have time to watch it right now, but
yeah, we're gonna sit right here and watch the movie.
We could. We absolutely could. We're not going to, but we could.
We still need to do that movie thing you want to do. Like we pick a film and we watch it with everybody, and everyone can tune in, and we can watch the movie together.
Yeah, we can do a movie night on Discord. Which, by the way, join the Discord.
Yes, join the Discord. We are streaming on Twitch, our Twitch channel. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Facebook, Book of the Face. So we're moving on up slowly, and the live broadcast is every Friday. If you're just tuning in, live broadcast every Friday, and it will be everywhere you get podcasts for your ear holes on Saturday. So if you want to join us on the live and talk to us and throw some questions at us, go for it and be like, why is touch the pee-pee such a thing?
Touch the pee-pee of the mind.
Touch the pee-pee of the mind. It's going to be a shirt. Remember that. Touch the pee-pee of the mind.
Gently caress and fondle the balls of the psyche.
No balls, just the people.
All right, that's a book title.
No balls, just the people. That's my autobiography right there. KMB, the sexy ninja story.
You heard
No
it here
balls,
first.
just the pee-pee.
Yeah, so Tree Venge is it came out what year? Like 08, 09, maybe even 07, sort of that like late 2000s, early 2010s kind of era. And you'll love it. It's like a point of view slasher movie, very like Joe Bob 80s style. And it's kind of like a wink and a nod, but done in the way where it's done lovingly. Like I would almost compare it to like Dubro Party Massacre 3.
Oh.
Where it's like it's really well done. It's consistently really funny, and like they nail the genre like perfectly. And so it's about killer Christmas trees because the Christmas trees are sentient.
Yes.
So I'll leave you with that. That's the jumping off point. That's when the holiday season is officially started because that's the one I got to watch because it's like, cool. It's the one time a year I get to watch like Tree Venge, and I'm not like a weirdo for watching a Christmas short in like August, you know.
Hey man, the Silent Night, Deadly Night is one of those movies I watch constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that says about me when but I used to watch that movie all. I had the VHS, the little axe out of the chimney and whatnot. I was that guy.
All right, what's your number 3?
Cheesy, but I came to appreciate this movie as an older man.
Okay.
Like it's a movie in time itself that was on every Christmas, and like I always thought it was boring,
Ooh,
And but
can I guess it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's fuck is the name of it? The Jimmy Stewart one.
Come on, almost there.
I'm not looking it up.
I hear the typing.
Wait, no, that's me coughing. Is it A Wonderful Life?
It's a Wonderful Life. That movie.
Whoa.
As an older man, every time I see that movie, it fucks me up more and more, man, emotionally. And like I said, like it's one of those movies that it was always on as a kid, but black and white, and there's a weird color version out there. Yeah, it's slow. But like I said, as I got older and I've been through some shit, I'm much more attuned to the story, especially the character going through all of that. And at the end, man, when everyone's bringing money in, and and I start bawling like a baby. I was like, oh my god! Every time I see this movie, like it just fucks me up.
I had some downtime at work. I was looking up the Wikipedia article for it, and I think that movie's old enough that it entered into the public domain. So if you go on the Wikipedia for that movie, you can watch the entire movie on the Wikipedia page.
Oh,
it's public domain, so like
maybe we can do that one.
We can do that on here. We wouldn't get like a DMCA strike or anything.
Yeah, exactly. So I like I said, as an older man, that movie has touched the PP of the mind.
I love it. That's one of those movies where it's like I'm fascinated about that era because it, like the way that people lived was like obviously that's like almost 100 years ago at this point, but like the way society was like now that I'm a little older, it's like you can almost project yourself onto him. Like, we're not too far away age wise. Like, I wonder what life was like for him, back in those days, So it's
dude.
Perspective.
Well, constantly getting the bone over and over again. He wanted to leave. He had this big idea of like leaving, and he was going to go for college. He was going to go see the world and whatnot. And, and everything just kept on bringing him, pulling him back and pulling him back. His brother goes off and sees the world, becomes a war hero, and his business is on the line, and you got the evil motherfucker, and it's just like it's just one of those things, and then money goes missing, and you're like, oh, he's got the bone even more, and then he's just like, what if I never was born? What would happen? And then that right there is a mental mind fuck of like, if I was never born, what would happen? And being on that premise, especially for that movie during that time, and showing how like he is the heart and soul of that town, and how everyone's just miserable, like, and how one person's life can change so many lives, even though it's not the life that you think you want, but it's the life that you need. It kind of goes in that premise of like quoting the Dark Knight, he's not the hero we need right now. We got to deal with Dent, being the face of Gotham, our White Knight, but we don't need Batman right now because Batman can take the abuse and whatnot. And so he has to go right off into the sunset while we make sure to save face with Dent.
So Jimmy Stewart is the hero we deserve, or the hero we need, but we don't deserve.
Yes.
That's the quote, right? I've seen that movie.
Yeah, I like I said, I love that movie. All right, your turn, because I know you have time. You don't have that much time.
I've got a little while, but not too much of a little while. So Thomas and I drunkenly watched the sequel to this one last night, which just reaffirmed how good the first one was, which was A Christmas Story.
Oh, there is a second one, isn't there?
There's another one that was narrated by Gene Shepard called like My Summer Story, and then there was the horrible direct-to-DVD sequel from 2012 that's like A Christmas Story 2 with Daniel Stern. It's so fucking bad.
I heard nothing bad. I've heard nothing but bad things about it, so I never like ventured to be like, I need to see this. I mean, I'm one of those guys that's like, I'll watch anything, and usually I do, but it was just one of those things I saw. I was like, I don't know how you were going to capture the magic of that first movie. Yeah,
it's so evident watching it. You're just like, there's nothing. The frustrating thing is, like, there were a few things that I felt like if there was a proper sequel to A Christmas Story done, like, while the kid that played Ralphie was still, like, a kid, you're like, yeah, all right, like, this could work. Like, these are things that make sense. But, like, they just never translate out of the script into something good. And, like,
you'll shoot your eye out, kid. There's just so many great quotes.
Yeah,
especially when Ralphie beats up Homeboy when he gets finally pissed off, and he's just like, Burger, or when he the bolts get knocked out, and he's like, oh fudge. Like how many people have been there as a kid, like saying their first curse word in front of their parent and being like,
or like having that happen where it's like, you'd be around your dad, and your dad's like doing something with tools, and you're just kind of being a shadow, like being in the way, and you're like, I don't even know why I'm here. Like,
many times my dad has tried, he's like, you need to learn these things, and
like learning things like on cars sucks because it's a tight space, and it's always like, I don't know what I'm looking at. It's one of those things where it's like with me, it's like I've changed out like radiators, alternators, stuff like that, like normal stuff, but it's still like, I'm either going to watch you do it, but I'm watching you, but not really.
You're much more of a mechanic than I am. I'll tell you that much.
I got to get my hands on it. Yeah, it's like, this means nothing until I'm touching like a screw, like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. But otherwise, you're like Ralphie. You're like, I'm literally holding a hubcap with bolts in it. Like, I'm not helping any.
In the cold.
Yeah, in like the Midwest Indiana cold. In like,
and Ralphie sells out his boy. Sells out his homie.
I mean,
who hasn't done that?
When you're like 9, yeah, you totally be like, my buddy.
It was Kevin, Mom. It was Kevin. Kevin said it, Mom.
The modern version of that would have been like when we were growing up, be like, did you go to Playboy.com? Like, oh no, I had my friend over and he wanted to go to this website and I couldn't stop him in time.
He wanted to see the boobies, Mom, not me, Mom.
It's right in his face. He's trying to tickle the penis of the mind. Dude, I saw Christmas Story like last year, the year before at Draft House, and they have like we still do it now that it's not that brand, but it's like they call it like the propped up cinema.
Yeah. So
the ticket's a little more expensive, but they give you like toys and shit to go with the movie. So for like any movie that they do it with. So for A Christmas Story, they gave me pink foam bunny ears, and they gave you glasses with like I might actually have them. They give you the glasses with like the tape in the middle. They give you a little bar of the Lifebuoy soap. Like the actual bar of that soap, they still make it apparently.
They don't give you Ovaltine?
They have a strong drink on the menu, so it's like it's like a mudslide kind of thing. I think with like chocolate milk and like rum or Kahlua or something. So you don't get necessarily Ovaltine, but you'll get a close approximation from the bar, which is all right with me. And then they gave us.
I love when people dive into movies like that, especially like with Big Lebowski, White Russians and shit like that.
They do that at the Orpheum. They show it every year, and they have like the Gatorade cooler with White Russians. And, I think that's a good idea. But anyway,
all right. So you did the Christmas Story. Let's see, what did I have so far? I had. Oh man, I already forgot.
Well, you had Die Hard.
No, hey!
Die Hard 2.
No, it's not touching the pee-pee of the mind.
The other hole.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's a Wonderful Life. Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. So I got two more. Okay. Oh man, let's see. You already took Home Alone off the plate.
Oh, while you're thinking, we also rewatched or saw what's the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2? We're trying to knock out all the bad sequels. Christmas Vacation 2 is also horrible, and I would not recommend it.
I've seen it once, and
it was just some racist shit in it. It was like, this is probably a good reason why this one never really took off.
I would say Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I'm
anxious to rewatch that one, and I've seen it a million times. The guy who did all the music for the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks did the music for Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, it's so quotable. It's like I still laugh.
It's like
really
all
hard.
the jokes still land.
Yeah,
that's like the big difference. Is like what makes those Christmas Vacation movies so funny versus like why like the Vacation reboot will like fall through like the cracks of time and no one's gonna remember that 10 years from now.
I forgot about that because wasn't
it's box office cancer Ed Helms.
Yeah, good old Ed Helms. Even though I like Ed Helms,
he's just
he's not a leading man. He's not a leading man.
It's one of those things where and that type of humor doesn't land. Like the jokes are funny because they're clever and they are real jokes. It's not just like situational ad lib humor where it's like, boy, this is awkward, huh? And then like look at the camera and shrug. Like that's not a joke. That's not even really like that relatable. Like it's just like you're taking me out of the movie. Like just I don't know. Like get better writers.
The Christmas lights or him losing his shit because he didn't get his bonus.
Yeah,
and the
like
tree going up on fire.
Like, relatable stuff. Oh, it's like I love that. Like
tree going on fire, then him cutting down another tree, and he brought in a squirrel.
That's the movie where it was like I was saying with like the 3 categories of film. That's like the family one. That's almost like the most emblematic of like the family, other than maybe like It's a Wonderful Life. But that's sort of like the depressing one with like a happy ending. This is sort of just the comedy one where it's just like the dad trying to like have the best Christmas possible, wants to get the whole family together, and it's sort of modern. So you're like, okay, that's relatable.
Ooh, my last one popped in my head.
Go for it.
Oh, you want to go on it now? You don't want to go back and forth?
While this mind pee-pee is still raging hard, go for it.
Krampus.
Okay.
Yeah. It was between Krampus and I don't know if you've seen this other one. It's called Better Watch Out.
I've seen it.
Yeah. I that's a great, like, I wouldn't consider it a Christmas movie because it's during Christmas, but Krampus is much more of that Christmas story because, it's the family that's just, no one likes each other. Everyone's mad at each other. Then they have to like all kind of appreciate each other. Then Krampus comes. It's like, I'm going to kill all y'all. And guess what? There's really no happy ending because y'all are living in my happy snow globe for the rest of your life on my shelf. You guys are forced to love each other.
Well, like when things are taken away from you, now you can appreciate them.
Yeah.
So
because I remember at the end of the movie when they all came together, I was like, something's wrong. Because I was like, they're all like, it's Christmas, we're happy. And all of a sudden when he looks out the window and like and it pulls and the shot pulls back and it's a snow globe, I'm like, damn, is that purgatory? Like, no.
That was another one that had really good sound design, since you were talking about that earlier. Like that is the audio production on it is very good.
Oh yeah,
especially
with Krampus, the creature itself. Especially that scene where they're under the car and you hear boom. You hear the dragging of the cape and with the bells. You know, it's terrifying.
I need to rewatch it. I saw it when it came out to theaters, but I haven't seen it since.
I've seen it a few times, especially during the holidays. Like it is definitely a great movie. It's funny. It's like I know everyone's probably like, why not the Star Wars Christmas special? No,
too obvious of an answer. And also, that one's unwatchable.
No.
We did watch the Ewok movie last night, the first one, Caravan of Courage.
Hell yeah! You know, it's bad as well, but you know,
it was. Yeah, it was one of those things where it's like it's not great, but it's like we were saying, like if that movie came out in 2021, the same way it is, maybe obviously it would look better, like
clearer,
visually.
crispier.
Yeah, being 4K, not in painted scan, but like. I think it would be even more better celebrated. And it's such a weird movie because it's like you always think about like for the longest time it'd be like Star Wars is like the original trilogy, and then they had some like spin-off stuff and like, oh yeah, they have those Ewok films that like no one talks about.
They're like the Droids cartoon, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's what's so funny to me when people like, especially people who are not hardcore Star Wars fans, you know, I'm like, oh, have you ever seen this? And they're like, that's a thing. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's a thing, you know. And like, I would really love for Disney. This is not Star Wars, but to put out the Young Indiana Jones series on Disney.
Oh yes,
like I would love to revisit those because I used to have the box set to the Young Indiana Jones series. Like
I used to have the Indiana Jones trilogy on VHS, and then it had a fourth bonus tape that was like the first episode or 2 episodes of the Young Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I'd seen them. I'd seen the first 2 or whatever, but I hadn't seen the entire series. I think by that time it had already been off the air.
Yeah, well, that's why when, in The Last Crusade, like how they're like, we're going to tell you his entire origin in the first 5 minutes of this film. Why he don't like snakes, where he got the look, you know.
And that honestly, that transition, like when he gets the hat, like that's such a beautiful transition.
Yeah,
because then it goes from young Indy to old Indy, and you're like, oh, okay. That is like perfect cinematography. Like I love that transition.
Oh, what do you mean? You mean that scene where his hat blows off and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull flies off and Shia LaBeouf is about to grab it and he says, "Not today, kid."
Oh well, I don't like to bust out that gem for just any occasion, you know. But
yeah, you know.
Short of that, the next best one is the one from the other movie.
And the reason I bring that up, folks, is because in our group chat, this is like a month ago or something, like you posted something about being excited for the next Indiana Jones movie or something, and I had the automatic shit. I'd be like, no, we had one. Remember, it didn't turn out well.
Yeah, but this one's different.
They're like more lead fridges.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was one of those things where it's like they took too much time off between films. You know, they should have made one in the '90s or the early 2000s. They're still got the character fresh in the mind. They waited too long.
You can justify it all you want. It just.
I don't even like that movie. I'm just saying, like, I like the franchise as a whole. I like the games.
One of these days when I come to your house, I'm going to see that poster in the bathroom. I'll be like, oh, my God. my
Shia LaBeouf body pillow.
Oh, my God. Then you're going to have the replica skull, like, on your shelf.
If it has vodka in it, then yes.
I remember that's the part of the movie I completely just went, fuck this. Like, I could take the lead fridge, I could take, the swinging vines of the monkeys and whatnot, but when he had the crystal skull, as soon as he turned it, I was like, aliens?
I was like, real beings, all right, or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that makes it better.
You know what? We should save that for another. Like, I would love... I would love to revisit this conversation if you watch all the special features on the Kingdom of Crystal Skull, which I did, and it is fucking hilarious because Spielberg, especially Spielberg, talking about that film and like how he just didn't want to do it. But we'll save that for another podcast. You watch those special features. I think they're all on. They're somewhere.
I think I have the DVD, but I'm going to wrap this up with my final film being the Tim Allen classic, The Santa Claus.
Oh, why did I not think of Tim Allen? Oh my God, I'm sorry, Tim. But at least you brought him up.
But only that one, because the other two were unwatchable. They were...
Hey, no, I actually like the other two. I like the trilogy. So first one's the best one.
Yeah, by far.
Yes.
That one was one where I think they took the framework of Christmas Vacation. Or no. How did this happen? Jingle All the Way. And
fuck, Jingle All the Way. God damn it. Like now it's all pouring in.
Yeah. Where it's like the dad has to get the thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Jingle All the Way, he's got to buy the toy. Santa Claus, well, that was more of a mythology where he becomes Santa Claus. So I like it because it's like we don't get enough Santa mythology films. It's like that movie from the 80s, The Santa Claus. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Had like Dudley Moore in it.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
No, have you seen the Kurt Russell ones? The Christmas Chronicles?
I've definitely clicked by it on Netflix, but I haven't seen it.
Dude, I recommend it highly. Okay. Like the sequels, like it's not as strong as the first one, but Kurt Russell is a great Santa Claus.
I can believe it. And
all I will say is there's a great reunion of two actors. They're not part like reunion of two actors at the end of the first film where you're just like, all right, or you might go overboard. Let's just say that. But yeah, so that's a great pick, man. Like when you said Jingle All the Way, I was like, oh damn, why did I think of that?
I mean, I'm trying to get Thomas to drunkenly watch the sequel with me with Larry the Cable Guy because that's on Disney Plus.
Really?
I'm going through all the terrible sequels, so that's the next one.
Oh, I would watch that with you.
All right, well, maybe next weekend.
We'll do something. Touch the peepees of the minds and touch the real peepees.
Well, that'll be the last episode of the show. We'll go out with a bang, literally.
Go the bang, like, here you go, folks. This is it. This is what you came for. But this was fun.
Yeah. We got to do some more ranked movie lists more often.
Ranked movie list. I was working with I don't know. Did you see the episode where I did with Beastmaster, where we did films of the 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to do films of the 80s and 90s, and I think you would be a great fit to add to that. Okay. To and just have a fucking smorgasbord of like going through the decades, because like doing the 70s was hard, but doing the 80s, the next is like, ooh.
There's so many iconic films.
Yeah. And a lot of little gems that are not really iconic upon themselves, but you love those movies yourself, This was fun.
Jingle All the Way for 1 through 5 for all my 90s films.
Favorite 90s film, V.I. Wachowski. You ever see that?
No.
Yeah, that's.
I couldn't even think of a favorite 90s film.
I just threw it out there. I was just throwing it out there. Like, if you haven't seen V.I. Wachowski, maybe you should do some homework and look up V.I. Wachowski. It was a movie I watched a lot as a kid. I don't know why. Like, it was just one of those things that I found it at the at our little rental shop, mom and pop video store, and it was like, this looks interesting, and it's a beautiful woman on the cover with half her leg showing, so I want to see what it is. And then you watch, you're like,
on the bottom of the W.
Yeah, then you're like, oh, all right, this story's dope. Like,
I bet it didn't take off because it's a hard name to spell. People be like, what? What's this movie called? I can't look it up.
Yeah. And Newman's in it, which makes it great. And
is he?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Knight. What's he up to these days?
What is he up to?
He did Hail Caesar, Blind Spotting, The Very Excellent Mr. Dundee, 12 Mighty Orphans, and the last one was Back to the Outback. Oh, he's doing like voice work.
Oh. I know I know he's come back for like the Lego Jurassic Park movies, or I think it's him. I don't know if it's him.
He
Like,
did the
in
Jurassic
general.
Park video game. The pinball.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Huh. Oh, did you watch that the little 5-minute thing of the Jurassic World Dominion, like a little prequel?
Oh, way back. I watched it on bootleg YouTube. Then they finally put out the clean, crisp version.
Mhm.
I'm intrigued. Like my wife is very excited. Like especially with Colin Trevorrow back in the director's seat. I think.
I can take it or leave it, but I'm interested to see it.
What'd you think of Fallen Kingdom?
I thought I liked that there was a twist where it turned into a haunted house movie at the end. I was like, that's unique. And then I thought the way that they set it up with like, now the dinosaurs are in the mainland, because they kind of did that with the Lost World, where they had the T-Rex was there, but it was like contained. And now it's like a bunch of dinosaurs throughout, like, you know, the suburbs, and I'm like, that's cool. Like, I want to see that. Like, I want to see the dinosaurs.
Well, that's what I
not being able
wanted.
to integrate. Yeah. So I thought that was really clever.
I will say the scene where the island's gone
Mhm.
and you see the dinosaur, you know, that's the first thing you see in Jurassic Park is that dinosaur.
Mhm.
And then being the last dinosaur you see and the island's going up in flames, like, I don't know why, but emotionally I was like, oh shit. Like,
Well, you know, it's like animals are innocent. You know what I mean? And so it's like when an animal dies unnecessarily, or especially as like a result of an influence of a human being, it always feels bad. You're never like, that animal deserved it. I'm like, no, animals are innocent. Like,
well, it's like in the Dark Knight when Batman throws those Rottweilers or whatever off him, and you hear, woo! I'm like, oh,
yeah,
Batman,
but
did you really need to throw that dog that hard?
he didn't kill.
All
Anyway,
right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there is the Social Event Podcast. Big Daddy will be back next week. Remember, go check out those crazy hoodies so you can get your hoodie on. You can rock a hoodie because Big Daddy loves his hoodies. This is why he started that. Go check it out. Also, go get his book. Also, too, if you're interested, there's so much more on this YouTube channel. I dropped a lot of like stuff for Camp Zool. You know, a lot of footage. I still have a bunch of footage that I'm trying to get. I had a super famous Fun Time Guys concert that I filmed in its entirety. I don't know if I'm going to release it because the camera was very shaky and it's very unbearable. Like I couldn't even sit through the footage. And it's because when I filmed it with the 4K cinematic, whatever. I didn't do it as like on what was the other thing on action for the GoPro. I didn't have it on that setting, so like if it shook, it would have kept the frame.
So it picked up every little shake.
Yeah,
Well,
every shake. So
you can try to see if your editing software has any image stabilization like plugins, so you can try give it a shot. I mean, otherwise, I would say strip the audio out and maybe put like, you know, just like
pictures
a still
of them.
image.
Yeah,
Do like slideshow or something.
Yeah, it
But
was a great.
If the audio is still good, you should keep the audio.
No, the audio is great. So, you know, I might revisit that. I still have a lot of footage and yeah, a lot more to come. I showed off my new camera to the group. I'm very excited. Like I said, I'm very, very excited. I already have an idea of the first thing I want to film. And it's not sci-fi related. It's not action related. It's more of like a social justice type thing relation, like being Native American and dealing with racism today. Like that's the idea so far. And I want to write it out.
Perspective on that.
Yeah. And I like, I don't know why, but that was like, when I got the camera, that was the first like outline of a story I wanted to tell. Then I was just like that. I was like, especially in this town, you know, and getting it from a Native American's perspective of how we see it, you know, and I want to do it as a short film. And, you know, like that's the goal in mind, but that's the premise of like a Native American dealing with racism today. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see it.
Yeah. I want to see it too. But all right, y'all, like and subscribe, share with your grandma, share with your grandpa, share with the bum down at Walmart. I am KMB, the Sexy Ninja.
It's your boy Biff.
And when in doubt, fuck your couch.
Motherfucker.
You have the best. Thank you.